Good morning. You're welcome to another edition of Import Export Platform Facebook Live from Trade Invest Trade Academy. My name is Dele Ayimibo. I'm sorry I could not come again on weekends. My weekend have become more and more tough, very, very tough. And the reason basically is because of a lot of other engagement I've had to get involved in on weekends nowadays. So sorry that I was so able to meet it up, but I'm beginning to think that anyway, let me try to see what happens before the end of the month. Maybe we'll just stick to weekdays because of the challenges of weekend. On Saturday morning I literally have lectures from 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. almost every Saturday, back to back. Different people doing different certification programs, actually. Trade finance trade certification program for different group of people. So it's a bit challenging for me to come, because by the time I get home I'm tired. And then on Sunday sometimes I have other programs. But let's see how it goes. I'm hoping that I'll still be able to do it maybe on a few Sundays, even if it's not all the Sundays, maybe on a few Sundays. But I really would like to continue a weekend broadcast, so that we can finish most of the things we have on time and move on to other things. So I already started discussing the what, the why, and the how to export to Nigeria, and I'm looking at import process today. I started last week, and we look at a couple. If you were with us last week, you will have seen what I posted. I think I should just post it again this morning, because since I didn't finish it last week, so let me just post it again this morning. Yep. I'll just post it again this morning, so that anybody just seeing us or stumbling at this will be able to appreciate what we discussed the last time and where we are right now. All right. So I started last time. I already, out of 8 steps, I've been able to do. Out of 16 steps, I've been able to do 8. So what I will be doing today is just continue in the same direction. But before I start, I would like to talk a little bit about contract. If you look at the first box there, it says importer and exporter sign sales contract. Importer and exporter sign sales contract. Question is this: for a new importer or exporter, what should be the content or detail of that contract? Number 1, buyer and seller's name. Buyer and seller's account address. Buyer and seller's account detail. Description of goods. Quality specification. Unit price. Quantity. Incoterms. Incoterms is international commercial terms. Incoterms. Payment terms. Payment method. Payment terms. Payment method. Shipping document, inspection, insurance, port of loading, port of discharge, country of origin, country of supply, latest date of shipment, latest date of presentation, termination, governing law, jurisdiction. Governing law, jurisdiction, and signature of both parties. What I've gone through just right now are the details that should be on a typical sales contract. A typical sales contract. A typical sales contract. So sorry. A typical sales contract. So what I will do now is to have a recap of what was done the last time. A recap of what was done the last time. Importer and exporter signed sales contract. I've explained that. Exporter sent pro forma invoice and product certificate if regulated by some to buyer in Nigeria. I've explained that. Importer collate pre-import documentation if for men, pro forma invoice, insurance and relevant permit. I've explained that. Importer fill if for men online and upload relevant document and submit it. I've explained that. Upon submission, the documents are transmitted to the selected bank for review and endorsement. I've explained that. The bank review the document and do KYC before transmitting the document to Nigerian Customs Service for approval. I explained that. Nigerian Customs Service approved the form and registered it on their system. I've explained that. And then I ended up with the bank established letter of credit if applicable. So this morning I will start from the importer instruct the seller to ship the goods. Remember, at this point now, the approval to bring that good into Nigeria has been obtained via the Form M. Every documentation required are in place. That means we are set to ship. That means we are set to ship. That means we are set to ship. So the importer instructs the seller to ship the goods. The seller ship the goods and send document to the importer's bank. The seller ship the goods and send document to the importer's bank. Importer's bank process document and transmit it to custom. Importer's bank process document and transmit it to custom. When the seller ship the goods, he's going to send the shipping document via courier to a bank in Nigeria. The document is called the post-import documentation or shipping document, and is sent to a bank in Nigeria. Now, the way Nigerian works is, irrespective of the payment method, either you are doing advance payment or called TT, or you are doing open account, or you are doing bill for collection, you are doing letter of credit, whatever the case is, you must send document to the bank irrespective of the payment method. So you can't say, oh, I'm using my money. I'm not using CBN money. I have my own fund. So because of that, I will send document directly to the importer. That's not acceptable in Nigeria. If you do that in Nigeria, you will basically be hindering yourself from doing another one. What exactly does that mean? I'm basically saying that if you do illegal shipment, you might, number one, you have tendency for a loss on that transaction, first of all. Because by doing illegal shipment, what you have basically done is to give custom a very good ground to delay your transaction. You are basically giving custom a very good ground to delay your transaction, because your transaction is violating the law of the land. Your transaction is violating the law of the land. So, document is sent to the bank. That's very, in fact, I need to emphasize that that in Nigeria, no matter your payment method, document must be routed to the bank. That means if the exporter has been paid even before shipment, it does not matter. Government wants to know the quantity of item that was shipped. Government wants to know the quantity of item that was shipped. It's so important because in Nigeria, people do what is called machine out. Machine out means people go to forge document. To be able to clear the goods illegally. There are cases where, because document was sent to the customer first, the customer will still send to the bank, but he has made photocopy, he has used it to clone a fake original, and he will clear the goods with that. So the challenge is, in the bid to ensure that there is a coordinated way of import, there's accountability, there's someone that can do the follow-up for people to do what is right, CBN ensures that every trade transaction passes through Nigerian banks, and document which will determine duty payable is sent to the bank. So if a customer violates this, a bank sometimes might need an approval of CBN to process such transaction. And that might mean a delay in that transaction. This is why it's extremely important as an importer, try as much as possible to obey and abide by the requirement for importing into Nigeria. And that's what we are trying to do through this broadcast online, to make everybody listening to know what is currently being done. Importer send shipping document to the importer ship the goods and send document to the importer's bank. The importer's bank process the document and send it to customs. Remember, after shipment, document, good is shipped, and document are sent to the importer's bank. Importer's bank process the document and transmit it to customs. Transmit it to customs. Why is the document going to custom? Custom is going to process pre-arrival assessment report PAR. Custom is going to process pre-arrival assessment report PAR. So because custom is going to process PAR, documents are sent to custom by the bank electronically. When custom gets this document, custom is required to issue PAR within a day. Like I said, PAR is pre-arrival assessment report. PAR, pre-arrival assessment report. Having processed the pre-arrival assessment report, the PAR is sent to the bank. The bank releases the PAR and shipping document to the importer. The importer gives the PAR and shipping document to his agent. The agent goes to do e-declaration. Can you remember e-declaration? Before you know, you will get to know about e-declaration. Ahmed, the detailed process of import into Nigeria is already on my blog. The detailed process of import into Nigeria is already on my blog. So what I would do for you right now is to paste the detail. So I'm replying Mohammed. As an importer, try as Ahmed, the detail. So I've dropped the stuff for Ahmed. Also for Mohammed rather. So you will see the link I just dropped right now. That is the link. That is the link. If you look at that link, you will see the step-by-step process of exporting to Nigeria or importing into Nigeria. And that's what I've been discussing since Friday last week, and I'm running off this morning. What you can do is to master that process and ask me question afterwards. But if you listen to the previous one I did, then you'll be able to understand this process. All right, let's move on. So with the point arrival assessment report, the agent will go and do what is called e-declaration. 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 Declaration is an intention to initiate clearing. Having done the e-declaration, it will go to DTI to impute the details, then go and pay duty and come back to the port to show the custom the document. And that will make it easier to clear the goods. Because at the end of the day, this importer cannot interface himself with the custom. He needs this agent to do that interface, to put an intermediary between them and custom. They are also called custom broker in other countries. He will go to DTI Cafe, obtain assessment notice, go to the bank, pay the duty, come back for final assessment, physical examination if possible, and then he will go and do what is called e-release before he can physically move the goods out of the port. Now, when Form M is submitted to bank for endorsement, the bank endorses the Form M and transmits it to Customs Service for approval. Upon approval of the transaction by Customs, that's the Form M, the bank will be alerted, the customer will be alerted. The customer can go ahead and start shipment of the goods. The bank can then accept to process the shipping document when it comes back after shipment. I'm basically saying that the import process in Nigeria, I won't say it's so cumbersome, only that it's longer than most you will see around the world. And I've explained the reason: because there is corruption, and the bid to combat corruption, the government come up with processes upon processes upon processes to be able to ensure that the people that want to beat the system do not have their way. To ensure that people that want to beat the system do not have their way. That's exactly what the government is trying to do. Now, when I talked about the contract, I know there are some terms I mentioned that people might have concern with, and I'm sure of one of them called Incoterms. Incoterm allows buyers and sellers to separate transaction costs and rates between the port of loading and port of discharge. What does that mean? If my good leave Nigeria and anything happens to the good in transit, we must be able to define from the contract who has borne the risk. who has borne the risk or who is carrying the risk at that time, so that the person will become responsible for either claiming insurance or the cost of the good itself. In Nigeria, for import, please note, we have just 2 Incoterm allowed in Nigeria for import: CFR and CPT. CPT for other modes of transport, CFR for sea. Those are the 2 Incoterm allowed for import into Nigeria. Please take note of that. Force majeure, circumstances beyond human control. Circumstances that affect you, that prevent you from producing or shipment. That circumstances beyond human control, so it's called force majeure. Some people call it act of God. It allows you to be able to seek for more time for shipment if you are planned to ship at a particular time and you are unable to do it because of force majeure situation. I'll be running up now. I'll come back in the evening and I will talk about clearing process. Then from next week, from tomorrow, I will start talking about the import prohibition in Nigeria. Thank you very much for listening. Bye for now.